When we hear the word Ragnarok, we immediately picture the end, right? The twilight of the gods, this massive world-ending battle. But what if the end wasn't actually the end? Today, we're diving into what comes after all that chaos. A story that's not about destruction, but about hope, rebuilding, and a universe reborn from its own ashes. So, this is the big question, isn't it? Most stories just fade to black at the apocalypse. But in the Norse sagas, the really juicy part might just be what happens next. It's not an empty void. It's more like a completely blank canvas, just waiting for a new masterpiece. And this lays out the shift perfectly. I mean, look at the difference. The old world was stuck in a constant state of conflict, this age of war. The gods were always looking over their shoulders. Their alliances were purely transactional, just born out of desperation. But the new world, it's founded on something totally different, a great peace. This isn't about survival anymore. It's a genuine, symbiotic union where everyone works together to really thrive. So, who's running the show in this new, peaceful cosmos? Let's meet the new management and see what kind of world they're trying to build. The new pantheon is a lot smaller, but you could argue it's so much wiser. You've got Magi and Modi, Thor's sons, who inherit not just Mjolnir, but also their father's incredible strength. And this is amazing, you have Bald, the god of light, who actually comes back from the dead. Just think about that for a second. These three aren't warlords like Odin and Thor were. They're meant to be anchors of stability in a world that can finally breathe. And this great peace isn't just some abstract idea. It literally changes the map of the cosmos. The very boundaries between the realms start to blur. Alfheim, the home of the Light Elves, and Idavolur, the golden fields of the gods, begin to merge into one seamless landscape. It's a physical representation of their new shared reality. Okay, so rebuilding an entire universe, that's a pretty big project. You can't just snap your fingers. You need architects, you need engineers. And this is where the elves really step into the spotlight, taking on these vital roles to literally build a new harmonious world from the ground up. And would you look at this incredible division of labor? It's just perfect. You have the Light Elves bringing their mastery of celestial magic and helping the new gods with the big picture governance. And then you have the Dark Elves, who you probably know as the Dwarves, down in their forges handling all the divine engineering. It's this beautiful partnership, magic and craft, spirit and substance, all working in perfect sync. And this, for me, is the most profound shift of all. The forges of the Dark Elves, which for centuries churned out nothing but weapons for an endless war, are now humming with a new purpose. They're crafting tools for creation. They've gone from being the armorers of a broken world to being the master architects of a hopeful one. But a strong foundation is only half the story, right? A new world also needs wisdom to guide it. And that brings us to the spiritual council that becomes the heart and soul of this new civilization. And just check out how this wisdom actually flows. It starts at the top with Balder, who has this unbelievable perspective from, literally coming back from the dead. That divine wisdom gets combined with the ancient, deep knowledge of the elven elders. Then the elves act as intermediaries, translating all this high-level insight into practical knowledge for the two human survivors, Lif and Lif+Sir. It's this beautiful cascade of wisdom, making its way from the divine all the way down to the mortal world. Now, you'd think that the first thing they'd want to do is just forget the horrors of Ragnarok, right? Just bury the past. But they do the exact opposite. They understand that you don't build a better future by erasing the past. You build it by learning from it. The entire foundation of their new culture is built on this idea of collective memory. It's the glue holding everything together. By constantly sharing the stories, the rituals, and honoring the sacred places from before, they make sure that the mistakes that led to the old world's downfall are never, ever repeated. And this isn't just something they talk about, they are actively doing it. They are constantly retelling the sagas of Ragnarok. They maintain the sacred groves and burial mounds, turning them into centers of learning. Every story, every ritual is designed with one purpose: to strengthen the bonds between everyone, weaving a new social fabric for the 9 worlds that won't tear so easily this time. So all of this, the shared rebuilding, the shared governance, the shared memory, it all leads to this fascinating and honestly beautiful final step: the ultimate merging of gods and elves into something completely new. This is a true fusion. You've got the shining quality of the elves, their magic, their wisdom, their artistry, blending with the raw strength of these new gods. It's not one group absorbing the other. It's like they're forging a new kind of spiritual alloy, taking the best qualities of both to create something stronger.
And what comes out of that fusion is something the cosmos has never seen before. A divinity that is described as both beautiful and unyielding. It's got grace and power. It's elegant, but it's also unbreakable. This is the synthesis of everything they've learned and everything they've become.
And that right there brings us to the biggest takeaway. The real victory after Ragnarok wasn't about winning a final battle. It wasn't about who was left standing. The true triumph was achieving this perfect state of unity. That harmony, that's the ultimate weapon against the chaos that tore the old world apart.
So that leaves us with this final thought to chew on. What if the entire brutal cycle of Norse mythology, all the battles, the betrayals, the destruction, wasn't really about leading up to a final victory? What if it was all leading to a final, necessary synthesis? A world where the only way to truly win was for everyone to finally come together as one. What do you think about that?